Greetings and salutations, my name is Eric, and I'm here to bring you a very chill video about Frost, because I think he's a very nice frame. And now I will stop with my ice puns because I value my viewer retention. Cool. So when people are asked what's the best way to survive in Warframe, a lot of people just say kill stuff faster. Others say CC'd enemies can't kill you, and I say, why not both? So I've been playing a lot of Frost recently, and he's been great, especially in Steel Path Circuit, but we can get to that a little bit later. Now, I won't lie, my builds are a little expensive, but I find I like to describe the way they work so you can elaborate on them yourself, and you make your own choices. But I would say one of the weaknesses is you need something to deal with overguarded enemies like Eximus, so usually a strong gun, or my Death Cube or Moa build, wink wink. You know what, I'm gonna do this a little bit differently than the other ones. I wanna go over his abilities first, and if I was smart, I'll probably add timestamps. I am not smart. Now his passive is a 10% chance to freeze melee attackers for 20 seconds, which is absolute garbo. So his one, wachow, freezes an enemy for up to 15 seconds and deals 6 cold procs to everyone within 3 meters and does a little bit of damage. And the cold procs slow everything by 75%. Oh yeah, his 1 is also used to pop his snow globe, so we'll get to that in a minute. His 2 is Ice Wave, aka Garbage. You send out a wave that deals 6 cold procs, slowing everything down by 75% again. And that's about it. This is basically the one ability that you'll want to infuse something with Helminth over, but that's kind of up to you to decide. His 3 is Snow Globe, and you make a little bubble, and you or enemies can't shoot into the bubble. See, they get stuck. So your allies get a little angry at you. So the health of the snow globe scales with your power strength and armor, surprisingly. But the real scaling comes from, for the first 4 seconds, it's invincible. And any damage it takes, it will get added to the new health. Kind of like Rhino's Iron Skin or Nezha's Warding Halo, if you know how those work. Oh yeah, and 1 to pop it. Ciao! And anything that gets caught inside, let's do this, take some true damage, His 4 is his bread and butter, Avalanche. Wachow! So, it deals damage in a 15 meter radius, and enemies that die from it explode and deal damage to other enemies in a 4.5 meter radius. Oh yeah, it also bypasses walls. Yeah. And it also freezes stuff solid for 8 seconds, except for the big kahunas like Eximus while they still have their overguard, and acolytes and whatnot. Oh yeah, and did I also mention, it strips armor. It strips 100% armor at 167% power strength, but if you have corrosive projection, yeah, that's how you say it, you can strip all of it with only 137% strength, which is really good. His 4th has an augment, which enemies hit by avalanche generate overguard for you and your allies within affinity range. Yeah, and that overguard scales with ability strength. It's pretty good. So let's get to the real meat and potatoes, the builds. Now, first of all, I have a Tau Forged Amber Shard for the casting speed because Avalanche takes a very long time to cast, and I find this helps immensely. You can put more on if you want. And another thing is Frost Prime actually has some of the lowest max energy capacity of any Warframe. So that's why we put on 2 Azure Archon Shards, because these are a flat buff of 50 energy where a percentage from flow, well, we still have flow, 185% energy based off of a low starting amount of energy ends up not getting you a lot, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, and these last 2 are just free open slots. If you want to run the 3rd build that we're going to show off, the Snow Globe build, I recommend a little bit of power strength, but it still works either way. So let's get right into it. So the first 2, this one and this one, are based around, spamming 4 a lot, and then this one's just a snow globe build. Yeah, so let's start off with this one, So one thing I actually noticed while recording is for these 2 builds, we don't need Prime Sure-Footed because the overguard granted by Icy Avalanche gives us knockdown immunity. So I formatted this slot so we can put that whatever you want. I'd kind of recommend a little bit more range with cunning drift or power drift. Each are fine. So brief for spite, because we are casting a metric butt ton of abilities and we want some shield gating to happen. But the real staple of the first build is Precision Intensify, 90% ability strength for your fourth ability. So Avalanche normally, like I said, strips all armor with 167% power strength, which is really hard to get to specifically. Like you have, so Transient Fortitude doesn't do it. Umbral Intensify doesn't do it. The only one that does it in one mod slot is Blind Rage. However, and even Molt Augmented doesn't do that. It only gets to, you would get to 160%, and you need that extra 7. So unless you wanted to run Corrosive Projection, then everything makes it a bit easier. But with just Precision Intensify, that strength makes it so you can always strip all armor with Avalanche right off the hop. And then Molt Augmented is for a bit of extra strength on your other abilities. But honestly, the strength on these ones isn't quite as important as just reaching that threshold on Avalanche. So we have our little bit of range plus the Augur Reach for a little bit more energy conversion. And then one thing you might notice a little interesting about this. Oh, first of all, Archon Flow. So instead of having normal flow, to fix a little bit of our energy problems, Archon Flow, if you kill something with Avalanche, there's a 10% chance that they drop an energy orb. Like the energy orb that pairs well with Arcane Energize, wink wink. But what you're probably noticing is a weird combination right here, Primed Redirection and Adaptation. So the reason being, Frost Prime actually has some incredibly high shields. Like look at that, 2.5 seconds of shield gating. Plus Adaptation works on the shields. So let's go, I just want to show you, once you start taking damage to your shields, you can get the Overguard, regen your shields, and then that shields will have the adaptation. So it's like you have, what would that be, 9 times more shields with the damage reduction? So check this out. So we come over here, and they start dealing damage, and then we can just press 4. They're frozen for a sec. We have our Overguard. Our shields start recharging. They're still frozen. They're just hanging out. We have a bit more shields. By the time they start attacking us, we already had... How many shields was that? I was going to have to go... Oh, I was too busy looking at my shields and Jeff, you killed them all. Oh my god. So I like using this combination because you saw, we took quite a bit of damage. With Icy Avalanche, we can get how many? 28,000 Overguard, which will go even higher with Molt Augmented, which is really nice. So, but if you don't like doing this and you want to go to level cap, what I do recommend is, I believe it is Catalyzing Shields and Rolling Guard. Because, look at this, Rolling Guard, you become invulnerable for 3 seconds and remove all status effects with a 7-second cooldown. If you have 100% duration, 100% duration over here, the freeze with Avalanche is 8 seconds. Oh, yeah, so... I replaced adaptation with Rolling Guard on this one. So, yeah, if you time it right, and if it's just fodder enemies, technically they shouldn't be able to hit you at all. So, the reason why we have Fleeting Expertise on this build is because Avalanche is very expensive. It's an ultimate, so it's 100 energy. But with this, it's down to 40, which is a lot more manageable to spam. All you have to do is have 2 energy orbs and you can cast it for free. But with Xenoric, you have the extra energy, so it actually offsets it pretty nicely. But you'll notice the freeze duration is only 3.2 seconds. This is good for stuff like defense, because if you freeze the enemies in defense, they'll just stop running at you, which is no good. So this is good for just spamming, running through missions and stuff and things. This is the build that I like to use just regularly. I find it, you saw the clip in the beginning with the Steel Path Kuva Fortress. This thing just shreds right through it. Yeah, so 195 Steel Path Corrupted Heavy Gunners. Let's get a bit more energy just because we're in here. But you just come over here and you freeze them, and then they're frozen for 3 seconds. But then they'll have the little stagger animation still, and then you can just keep freezing them, and keep freezing them. And look at our Overguard just stack up. And if I'm not mistaken, before I say anything, I'm gonna have to go do a bit of research. I was right. So Overguard gives you a half a second invulnerability window, paired on top of the 2.5-second shield gate window, you have quite a bit of time to save yourself, basically, if stuff goes awry. So basically 3 seconds of invulnerability, but the thing is, you have to make sure everything stays topped up, you know what I mean? So I've already shown off this build, just crushing stuff and things, but this is the one I like to use for the Steel Path circuit. So notice the rolling guard to help us deal with getting hurt a lot, but the main difference between these two is the duration and the efficiency change. So with the circuit, you get a lot of energy. So energy isn't as much of a problem, so we can run it like at full power, basically. And the enemies start to get a little tanky, so that's why we're utilizing Biting Frost. Frost gains 200% crit chance and crit damage against frozen enemies. Oh, you mean the frozen enemies that Avalanche makes? And with the full duration, they're frozen for 8 whole seconds? So, I just went through a whole spiel, but I think I got something wrong. So, Biting Frost, Frost gains 200% crit chance and crit damage against frozen enemies, okay? So, with Arcane Avenger, that's a 45% flat crit chance. So, I want to test it out with the Cedo. So, see here, it has a 2% crit chance on its other attack. So, you'd think that the Biting Frost augment, let's do crit, would give the same as crit deceleration, which would put it up to a whopping 6 whole percent. So let's see. So if we take the damage, it should be 6% plus 45. So it should only be like, and we do this, freeze them. Then riddle me this: why is it orange critting? Is it because it's also multiplying the Arcane Avenger? But that would only put it up to 96% crit chance. So why is it orange critting? Does anybody know? So I hope I was able to show that bit off, right? Because I've been doing this for a long time and I have no idea what I'm doing. So yeah, so 45. If Biting Frost stacks with that, it should be then 90%. But everyone says it works like a normal mod, so it'd only be like 6% wherever critical deceleration is. See, so without that, it'd still be 6 plus 45, or it'd be 96. So why is it orange critting? And to add fire to the flame, my Kuva Nucor has about 25% crit chance. Okay, so with the 45% from Arcane Avenger, that should be, it should be pretty close to orange critting, right? So why doesn't it? Does anybody have any freaking idea? I have none. I have no idea why. So it's a little buggy, but one thing's for certain: the Biting Frost helps in the circuit because it will bolster any like bad weapons that you get, like if they want to be crit. So this really helps you like get the ball rolling, you know what I mean? This is a solid little higher end build. Oh, I'm a complete and utter idiot. So if you notice here, I didn't put any helmet over this one because I haven't found what I want to use specifically for this one yet. But with the Steel Path Circuit one, we have Breach Surge. This is where things get spicy. So I just want to show off Breach. Wrong button, not the Exodus. So freeze them, Breach Surge them. Those are red crits. That's nuts. So it's really good for spiraling stuff and things. And it helps a lot with very, very high level enemies, you know? Yeah, I think that's a pretty good demonstration of how they work. And last, and maybe least, is our Snow Globe build. And you're looking at this and you're probably thinking, what the heck am I looking at? So basically I subsumed Gloom on here. And Gloom can slow stuff up to 95% at let's see, 272% ability strength will slow stuff to the max at 95%, okay? So, Snow Globe also scales with power strength and armor, which we have quite a bit of. And I wanted to make it so your other abilities aren't complete garbage. I need two more capacity to put my Prime Sure-Footed on here because we don't have the augment for Icy Avalanche. So the thing is, you're like, that's not the amount of power strength you need. So proc Growing Power and get Molt augmented, and then you have enough. But even just with Growing Power, since you snapshot channeled abilities like Gloom, it'll do a little bit of work. Yeah, so once you get up to max stacks, this actually gets you 279% ability strength for the max slow. Plus, if you plop down your snow globe, that'll start having quite a bit of health. And I wanted normal efficiency. You could have plopped in blind rage in here, but you're gonna be wanting to spam some snow globes, so the negative efficiency really hurts it. So I just want to show off like how this works. Hey, everybody, start attacking me. So we proc. Oh wait, we had to have a couple stacks of that. So we proc Gloom, Snow Globe, Avalanche. So you see, Gloom is already all the way out here, and we start healing up. Okay, you guys can you know, get unfrozen now. But the 95% slow eventually. Like, look how slow they're going. Because the animation from after, like, thawing out from Avalanche, that's slowed down too. Like, hello? Yes, it drains a lot of energy. But if you notice, they're not attacking me. No, yet. Oh, now you're gonna start attacking me, eh? Eh? Oh, we're out of energy. Hold on. Yoink. Oh, and we're good now for a while because, you know, it'll be a 95% slow. Like, honestly, it's a bit better than it lets on. So I hope I was able to convey how Frost is actually a lot better than... What? No, we're going this way. I'm doing my outro pretty please. So I hope I was able to convey how Frost is pretty good, honestly. Like, people have been like hating on him for a little bit, saying he needs a rework, but hey, he still gets the job done. And if you like this video, maybe consider liking and subscribing, and maybe checking out the other build videos. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.